If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, all commissioners are here other than Mr. Kelsey, who is excused. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda as it is presented tonight?
I move for the approval.
Second. Moved by Bringard, support by Bletcher. Questions, comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Aye. Motion carried. Moving on to the approval of minutes for December 2023. They are in your packet.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Bletcher, support by Bringard. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye. All
Aye.
opposed say nay. Motion carried. Expenses, Chief.
All the expenses are within budgetary confinements. As we've stated over and over again, the fire department works within two millages. One is dedicated to operations and one is dedicated to equipment. And all expenditures for the month of January fall within the parameters as budgeted by the fire department. Nothing unusual.
Questions or comments of the chief? If not, a motion to approve the expense report for December 2023 would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bringard, supported by Bletcher. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to discussion items. We have 6 tonight. Chief?
Chief's report, one thing I'd like to mention to the board is that, hang on, I'm getting a call. Bob, can you take care of that? Thanks. The Groesville Fire Department has entered into a monumental partnership with the Groesville High School. We have opened our doors to create a work-based learning program with high school seniors. I commend Andrea Dishon to work with me in creating this advancement program. Basically, 5th hour, we will have seniors who anticipate a career in emergency services to participate as part of their curriculum, a work-based experience where they learn the gap between what they learn in the classroom and what they learn in a actual working fire department. I can tell you this program has already started at the fire department. It's a new relationship intended to beneficially shape our youth at an early stage. It's to shape the next generation of skilled workers. It's intended to have a tremendous impact on our students, enrich the youth of the Groesville community, and enrich the support that the Groesville residents have of their fire department. It's intended to give our students a leapfrog relationship with mentors, with potential, let's say, employers, and to basically build a solid relationship between our township government via the fire department and our community. The students arrived today. They were very enthusiastic, and I can tell you that's a relationship and a work-based learning program that has never existed before between the fire department and Groesville Township Schools. And I can tell you I'm very pleased, and I'm getting a lot of enthusiasm with our firefighters to participate in this program. So that's one thing I'd like to discuss, and if anybody has any questions, I'll gladly take those questions from you.
Questions from the commission?
John, how many students did you have? How many classes have attended?
We had 2 students who participate in the internship program, and this is something that Groesville Fire Department started with the high school as a option for these students to, let's say, extend their classroom. Now, I do expect, as the word gets out in the curriculum base, more students to participate in this internship program. It's just in its infancy stage, so I do expect to have more interns. And these students will come to the department every day for an hour until June.
It's a great idea.
They'll be 18 years of age in May, and hopefully, as another channel of increasing the membership at the fire department, possibly these two students will join the fire department. And they will be able to once they're 18 and get out of high school, which they will be in May.
All right. Runs.
Next discussion item are EMS and fire runs. For the year of 2023, we had approximately 120 more runs than we did in 2022. We finished off the year with 872 EMS and fire calls. 872. The prior year was 769. So our department, I am glad to say that our citizens can make these calls without any aid from any other municipality. Sure, we have mutual aid, but predominantly 99% of our calls are responded to by our own fire department. That's a lot of calls, 872 calls a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So hats off to our firefighter EMTs, our citizen firefighter EMTs. I cannot commend them more. They are very busy. Number 3, following up on that prior discussion item, it's imperative that we always keep our foot on the pedal of increasing membership. We have 5 new members for the year with 0 attrition. 0 attrition. So we added 5 new members. I can say from my own experience, typically to get 5 new members through school, EMS classes and firefighter classes, to get 5 new members, you typically need about 15 new applicants. The attrition rate is probably 60%. You take people on and they just don't fulfill the obligations. So to get 5 new members, I think you're looking at about 15 new applicants. We've been able to keep all of these new members with 0 attrition. And I commend the firefighters for that and the EMTs. They do a great job creating a family fabric, and I think they've targeted that. We have targeted to keep our members part of our fabric at the fire department, and therefore they can acclimate themselves and pull through the duty and the classroom duties, knowing that they're part of a team. So the team pulls through just like a crew team. Everyone helps each other. So I'm glad to say that I commend the firefighter staff, the fire department staff, to keep that attrition rate at 0. So I thank them all. The next board meeting, I will propose to the township board a false fire alarm report ordinance. The fire department has responded to an increased number of false fire alarms. I am aware that at one address, the fire department responded to, by mid-November, they responded to 17 false fire alarms to one address. Now, these false fire alarms are coming in at 24 hours a day. They'll come at 2 a.m., they'll come at midnight. That's a large pull, large stress on the fire department staff to be coming out at 17 false calls. But what I'm mostly concerned about is when you have 17 false fire alarms, it's the boy who cried wolf. The next time there will be no response on the resident's side to the fire alarm going off. They stay in their residence, but it's a real fire. So the sensitivity of false fire alarms is very dangerous to the occupant. And that's what concerns me the most, is the occupant hears the false fire alarm, oh, it's just another false alarm, and they don't react to the alarm. So we got to stop false fire alarms for the safety of the occupant just as much as a drain on our resources. Okay, so it's good government to protect people and prevent them from having dissensitivity.
Two questions.
Sure.
What's the background behind the 17 false calls from that one residence?
Poor equipment.
Usually that's what it is.
Poor
Number two,
equipment.
what's the gist of the ordinance?
The gist of the ordinance is you'll get 3 false fire alarms in a calendar year. On the next false fire call, the fire department has created a notice that we responded to an additional false call. And it gives the resident 10 days to provide the exception that is noted in the ordinance. Let's say a power outage will set off a false alarm, so you get an excuse for that false fire alarm. Also, if you can show that you are working on the equipment within 48 hours and it's resolved, you don't get tallied for a false fire alarm. So there are some good exceptions to in the ordinance that prevents a charge for the false alarm. And the charge, I believe, is $150. If it keeps going up, if you continue to have false alarms, it goes up to a maximum of $250. But again, it's to protect people so that they keep the sensitivity of the alarm going off. Because I've been on calls where the residents are still staying in their kitchens or in their beds going, it's just another false alarm. Well, the next one's going to be a real, authentic, and they're going to still stay in their beds, and we can't have that. It's good business for the township to promote a false fire alarm ordinance.
Well, we have it for both police and fire. We're just going to amend this, right? So it's going to come back to us, and then we recommend to the board. But, I mean, both police and fire already have them in place, but now they need to be a little bit more tight.
You know, you're exactly right. There is already a false fire ordinance in the township board, and it states you will be charged a fee after the third one. It's generic, it's general. What I'm saying is, let's add a line item fee. So the township has addressed this, but we're going to make it more specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yep. Aerial replacement. Okay. The aerial was purchased in 1997. We, under the guidelines of the NFPA, which has been adopted by the Groseal Township Board in its ordinances as an enforcement ordinance. Our ordinances on the building side, the building ordinances, has adopted the National Fire Protection Act, okay? We have a standard NFPA 1912, and basically what the standard says is your aerial does not satisfy safety standards. I can give you an example. Our aerial in the back seat has no seats, but the firefighters get in the aerial when they deploy to a fire call. There's no back seats. There are no seat belts. There are no compartments for their helmets. Now, there is a driver's seat, an officer's seat, and 2 seats behind them. But in front of the 2 rear seats where the firefighters put their SCBAs on, they don't have any seats to sit in. Now, your newer apparatus do. They have seatbelt alarms, they have helmet compartments, they have all sorts of safety equipment. Okay? Driving is a hazardous, activity. Deaths to firefighters are primarily caused in car accidents. I can remember last year a Detroit firefighter was killed even when he did have a seatbelt on in a car accident. Our firefighters in natural actual practice are deploying to a scene without without chairs, without seats, without seatbelts. That is how old this apparatus is. It has a 1995 chassis, which has been declared in the past, the recent past, last 2 years, was in such a corroded state that the walking beam of the suspension broke. It was declared unsafe for highway speeds. Now, we're not talking 80 miles an hour, we're talking 55. The repair was made at a cost of $15,000. However, that is indicative of what we are dealing with in the near future. It is easier to be complacent and negligent than it is to be, let's say, persistent, compliant, and satisfactory, right? It's easier to turn the cheek than it is to say we're being proactive and we're being compliant and we got to spend money. That's a fact. The business of firefighting is a natural hazard, and we cannot afford to have apparatus that do not satisfy NFPA standards. And it is my position that, considering the age of this apparatus, and let me mind you, NFPA says no apparatus greater than 25 years should be replaced. NFPA says no apparatus greater than 25 years should be refurbished. You are spending money when you're going to have to refurbish what you refurbished. Okay? So we are facing a situation where we are not compliant with NFPA standards. We have pushed the limit of the age of this vehicle beyond where we should be. Now, it's an expensive purchase, straight up. Hit it right on the head. It's expensive. But we cannot afford to be complacent, non-compliant, because our citizens, who are our firefighters, deserve better. So I can tell you this apparatus needs to be replaced. It will be replaced. And I'm hoping that this board, this commission, understands the gravity of what we're dealing with. I can tell you, to the taxpayer, the fire department needs no money to purchase this vehicle. We don't need to go to the taxpayer and say, we need additional money. The fire department, or I should say, the past fire commissions and the board, including this board, have been committed to saving the money. The fire department has saved the money over the last 30 years to pay for this piece of equipment. We have saved the money. Every budget, we have set aside money for this apparatus. And it has been a disciplined savings plan, and we have the money in our accounts to pay for this apparatus. And all I can tell you, kudos to the wonderful people who saved this money over 30 years, and the taxpayers can say, boy, oh boy, the wisdom of the board, the commission, and the fire department. We don't need to go and ask for additional funds to pay for this. It's a monumental moment because this is the most expensive purchase that the fire department has ever had to make when it comes to apparatus, and we have the money in our account. That is monumental. It deserves noting, and I'm going to note it, because all my mentors, and I can say Kurt Corneffel was on the fire commission 29 years ago when they purchased this apparatus, and there are the minutes. And I'm asking the fire commission to make an action item and recommend the purchase of this this wonderful piece of equipment that will last us 30 years.
John, if we approved it tonight, how long is it gonna take? 3 years?
No. I've read numerous articles at my desk where order date to arrival date of something like this will take 4 years. This commission approved the purchase of an ambulance 7, 8 months ago, and that ambulance is 3 years out. A piece of equipment like this, I've been told will take 4 years, except I've had sit-down meetings with KME and Pierce, with the wonderful committee that helped the fire department come to our specifications of what we're looking for. I have a relationship with the 2 salesmen who have indicated to me that we can get an apparatus September 2024. Why? Because Grosio Fire Department has a relationship with these 2 companies where the salesmen for both companies say, we can get you an aerial. Unfortunately, when it comes to a purchase, both aerials don't provide the same amount of equipment, the same type of equipment. It's been my duty, or my position, that if we're going to spend this kind of money, we don't get what we already have. For example, specifically, the aerial we have now carries 500 gallons of water. I want to improve that. I want the aerial to carry 18% more water, 650 gallons. I want the aerial, the current aerial we have has a 69-foot reach. The houses that have been built on Grosio, the foliage, the trees, the height of the houses cause a problem with the purchase of another 69-foot aerial. I want this aerial, this ladder, to be greater than 100 feet. We need it on Grosio. Okay? So I have put together a list of improvements to the new aerial that will, let's say, not only give us a new aerial, but a better aerial side by side. The aerial we have now, the stanchions go out 16 feet. Well, I can tell you, I've driven down Knutson, I've driven down HCL, I've driven down Concord, and some of those roads, they're parking cars on both sides of the roads. We couldn't get the stanchions out 16 feet. So I went, on my list of requirements, I was informed one of our vendors can build us an aerial where the stanchions are not 16 feet, but are 12, saving us 4 feet. That is important. So it's things like that that will improve our aerial side by side versus what we have. So I want to enhance what we have, just by not buy new. Okay, buying new of the same old thing doesn't satisfy me. I want to buy new and improve the standard. So the vendor that has satisfied that list of line item requirements is Payette and Associates. They have actually given us a double warranty versus the other vendor that has proposed an aerial in 9 months. So I can tell you, vetting the requirements, vetting the timeline, I propose that the purchase of a new aerial be placed with Sourcewell, which the township is already let's say a member. Sourcewell is a 50,000 strong governmental, educational, nonprofit purchasing, let's say solicitation platform in which the 50,000 potential purchasers are able to solicit RFPs, requests for proposals, and bids from vendors at a cheaper cost due to the purchasing power. Grosio Township has been on Sourcewell for as long as I can tell, for years. And it's my recommendation that we put this purchase through Sourcewell and purchase the aerial via the Sourcewell platform through Payette Sales and Service, and we move forward. Carl?
John, you'd indicated that the existing equipment had seating for 4, no placement for helmets, and the self-contained breathing apparatus. How does this new purchase reflect improvement over the last?
Well, the new purchase will have seats for all firefighters in that apparatus. They will have seats in the back facing each other. They'll have seatbelt alarms that are going off to the driver, helmet alarms, occupation alarms if they're in the seat. Let's say the driver will know. So there will be numerous safety equipment, the latest that a moving apparatus is required to have.
So we're looking at 6 seats and placement for the helmets and scuba.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we are in the build process, Carl, where I could add more seats if we want to. So right now, this piece of equipment is been taken off the line, so to speak, for the Grosio Fire Department, should we purchase it, and we can actually modify that seat configuration and add another seat back there. But right now, there's 4 seats in the back.
Any other questions, Carl?
No, sir, thank you.
So, John, I know this is an action item, and obviously the commission can discuss it in greater detail once it's an action item, but do you have anything else to say under your report as it relates to the aerial replacement?
All I can say is, I'm proud to be here. I've looked in the records, but I do have one other thing, if I may. And I have petitioned this to the board. Carl's very familiar with this. The Grosio Fire Department has had a capital aging equipment and replacement plan for decades. And on this list that I have here is every piece of hard equipment that the fire department owns. And in this replacement schedule, we have the age in which this equipment should be replaced. And we budget in this capital replacement aging schedule the money to let's say replace the equipment. This aerial should have been replaced according to our schedule in 2019. We're a little late, but COVID and other things brought our attention towards away from the apparatus. Now, so again, the discipline that the fire department, the board, and the commission have displayed in this 3 or 4 decades long savings plan is commendable. To sit there and say, we have the money budgeted for this kind of purchase, I can tell you, I talked to a chief in Woodhaven, and they have no such savings plan. They do not. And they actually have to go to the general fund and, let's say, debate against other departments in their government to get this kind of money. So it's commendable. It's really an amazing plan. Now, when it comes to the price of what I've seen versus pay at sales and service and other vendors, this falls, the purchase price paid to KME falls within the range that I have seen in other departments that I don't want to mention, but that I've had this personal discussions with. And, you know, we can't wait 4 years. We wait 4 years and we're going to be paying 9-10% year after year above of what we're paying now. You can expect in 4 years that the same purchase is going to cost us $400,000 more than what we're paying now. The ambulance we bought and we paid $340,000 for 7 months ago is now $380,000. So all I can say is if we don't act now, we are going to be falling to the easy way of life of non-compliance, because that's easier, okay? And we need to be proactive. And here's the thing I'd like to say. Yes, we have issues on Groseal with a bridge, right? But Groseal is a shining star. Groseal is a wonderful place to live. And it's all emulated, in my eyes, through the support that the board and the commission gives the fire department. We have internships with our own high school students now, and we have citizen firefighter EMTs coming to our own homes. It's a wonderful time to be on Groseal.
All right. Again, the commission will provide their comments during the action items section of the agenda. Chief, last thing, Fire Commission meeting dates for 24-25.
Oh, yes, we have to publish our meeting dates for the next year. I have a handout somewhere, let's see. In all my papers, I can't find that. Yeah, we saw it. Hang on one second. It might be on your last page right here. Okay, here we go, Kurt. Okay, you have the honors.
The commission obviously meets on a monthly basis. We actually have to work with all of our schedules, and sometimes we do have to move our meeting dates. However, they're set April 11th, May 9th, June 13th, July 11th, August 8th, September 12th, October 10th, November 14th, December 12th, and then going into 25, January 11th, February 8th, and March 14th. Obviously, the clerk's office needs this so they can publish these. So we will have another action item tonight where the commission will approve this and then submit it to the clerk so they can post it properly. Anything else, Chief, under the Chief's report or the discussion items?
Nothing further.
All right, moving on. Action items. Obviously, we heard from the Chief with regards to the purchase of the new aerial. Commission's thoughts or comments, starting with Jerry.
I have none.
All right. Carl.
John has said it all. I have nothing further to add.
Kurt.
I do have something to say. I have the distinct pleasure of having recommended the original aerial back in 1996, and it was a stretch for Groseal at that time. As the chief has said here, we have like a 69 or a 70-foot reach with this one. We would have bought a bigger one back in those days, but we didn't because we didn't have a building big enough to handle it. The dedicated millage, the half mill that came into being, we were part of that back then, and as the chief has eloquently said, now we do have the money for this, and our planned purchase is something that we actually need. To address what he said about the 4-year wait and the equipment, we are well familiar with this type of thing. I commend the chief for having done his due diligence, and many times you get lucky with a preferred vendor that has a piece of equipment that they can get a handle on or a slot. That doesn't happen very often, and we're overdue on this area to try and fix something that really shouldn't be fixed. It's a chronic problem now. It's never going to be any better. And the fact that we have increased needs, bigger reach, more power, it's like Fred Flintstone to the space age. While it was wonderful when we bought it, we were the only community that had it, and it served us well for these 25 plus years. It's time to move on, and when we're done here, I would like to make the motion again after all these years that we recommend that we purchase this from Payette and Associates and move forward without any undue delay.
All right. Is that a motion, Kurt?
I'll make the motion to purchase the new aerial as described by the chief from Payette and Associates and to send it on to the board for their approval.
Is there support? Support by Bringard. Chief, do you want anything added to that motion so that when it goes in front of the township board? And if you don't, that's fine too. I just didn't know if you
no.
wanted to add anything else.
I just would like to go before the township board that we purchased the new aerial from Payette Sales and Service. It's a 103-foot aerial, number 11575, and the purchase price, $1,776,194.
Mr. Corneffel, is that an acceptable addition to your motion?
It is.
Jerry, is that acceptable as well?
It is.
Questions or comments from the commission members?
I do have one thing to say. Our current aerial, when we sell it, we're going to get 50% of what we paid for it. And here it is 25 years later. Testament to the good work that this department has done in maintaining their equipment. And that was the only comment I had.
Well, that's a good comment. Obviously, talking with the chief, when that issue comes up, he'll bring it back to the commission. We'll go through the procedure to sell it to a secondary or tertiary market. And obviously, we're going to get as much as we possibly can for it, to apply it and put it back into our dedicated millage funds.
That's a good note there, no doubt. We will sell that unit when the new unit comes in, and that will go deposit back into our equipment millage money.
And one added comment, it's a nice thing. We're not under the gun to take the first bid. This is not where you have to sell this item to acquire the new one. It's more of a space situation, and you can find storage for it if you have to, but I would suspect that we're going to get the right price for it in a timely manner, but we're not under the gun to take the lowest price either.
All right, it was moved by Corneffel, supported by Bringard. Are there any further questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Chief, if you have any issues or when you take it in front of the board, if you want commission members there, just invite us and we'll support the cause.
I appreciate the commission support, always.
Moving on to the second action item is the approval of the 24-25 commission meeting dates. Can I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by Fletcher, supported by Bringard. Questions, comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried. Public comment. We have no public, but one other item that I think is important. The chief passed out a list of all the good men and women that are in our fire department, and basically it's their runs and their percentages. But looking at this, Grosse Ile is a great community. Obviously, we all believe so. We've all lived here a very long time. But special note should be to Carolyn Sarter, Jim Kovich, Kenny Gape, and the chief. If you take a look, Carolyn Sarter has years of service, 44 years of service. Kenny Gape, 39 and a half years of service. Jim Kovich, 25 years of service. And obviously, Mr. Camilleri, 17 years. if you're in the public and you're at Kroger's or CVS and you see these fine people or any of the other firemen or fire personnel, thank them for their service. That's a testament to the island, it's a testament to the department and how this association has run itself throughout the duration. So that's amazing to see someone's worked on this department for 44 years. Someone's been here for 25 years. Kenny Gape, 39, Kenny's only 50, so he was like 10 years old when he first started working for the fire department, probably under his dad. But that's a good thing to pass out to us on a regular basis, Chief.
Yeah, no doubt.
Any other thoughts, comments from the commission? If not, a motion to adjourn would be in order. Moved by Bringard, supported by Corneffel. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you and have a good night.